So Iger was asked,
With Epic Universe opening up in Orlando in 2025, why hasn't Disney prepared anything or placed more than just a handful of attractions in the pipeline to be ready for this in 2025 at Walt Disney World?
Well, thank you very much for your question, but that just couldn't be further from the truth. We've been aware of Universal's plans for a new park for more than a decade, and we have a sophisticated approach to analyzing the needs of all of our businesses and strategically deploying capital. But I just want to remind you of a few things at Walt Disney World during this same period. We opened Pandora, the world of Avatar and Animal Kingdom, Toy Story Land, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at Hollywood Studios. We also completed a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar transformation of Epcot, which included adding Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, Moana's Journey of Water, and a great attraction, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. And we opened Tron Light Cycle Run at Magic Kingdom. So by staggering these major launches, we have been able to commercially and operationally optimize our new offerings over time rather than having to do it all at once. And based on the guest experience that we've heard all about from all of these items that I just mentioned, we know that they're extremely popular and they're serving our guests extremely well. And by the way, the agreement we reached with the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District last week will actually enable us to pursue the kinds of significant investment in our Florida parks that you're talking about. We achieved a win-win result with that deal in terms of our ability to pursue future development opportunities, but also in terms of the thousands of direct and indirect jobs and economic opportunity in the state that will come with our investment in new projects. So as we've discussed regarding our $60 billion capital expenditure plans, there's much more coming to our parks around the world, including in Florida.
I find that statement, I mean, I want to say it's like almost the definition of gaslighting in a way. At the very least, in my opinion, it's revisionist history, to put it lightly.
what do you mean?
Well, the statement, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. His statement about we've known Epic Universe has been coming for like over a decade. That opens up a lot of like, in what context? Like, because I don't think that Universal necessarily was saying 10 years ago, like the exact plans that they have for Epic Universe. I'm sure they had stuff in the works, but if you remember correctly, Comcast has barely owned Universal for like 10 years.
Well, in like 2015, 2016, that's when they acquired the land that will eventually be Epic Universe. So I think that's probably what he's referring to. Like, yes, there's going to be a new park coming.
Right.
So I think maybe that's what he was referring to. I don't think he was referring to specifically, oh, it's going to be Epic Universe. Like that, he's not privy to that information.
Right. But he's still implying like, well, we've known all along. We've been doing all these things. First off, if that was the case, you would have known at the very least by 2015, 2016, when Universal bought that land, that they were going to do something.
Sure.
So if you knew this was coming, why the last two D23s did you basically announce nothing but blue skies?
Well, like, I was thinking about that. I think a part of it was the whole battle with the Central Tourism thing, the group
that probably played a role.
I think that they were just kind of a standstill with that. So I believe if I'm guessing, they just kind of were like, well, we don't want to spend all this money. We don't know what's going to happen with that, which I totally get. But at the same time, you know, they're known to announce things and then go back on them.
Well, and
so
and
it's
that just and that just opens up a whole can of worms here, because I'm sitting there looking at this and I'm going, okay, he's making it seem as if all the things they have done for the past decade have been sort of like preemptively, like a preemptive chess move to whatever Universal's got coming.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember correctly, Pandora was their answer for Hogsmeade.
Right.
Hogsmeade was built in 2010.
Right.
Pandora was announced in 2012.
And opened when?
2017.
Right.
Took them a little while to get that one done.
Right.
Then Diagon Alley comes out in 2014. Mm-hmm. Mind you, it took them a year to build Hogsmeade, by the way.
I think, I want to say it was like a year, maybe 2 years.
It was very quick.
It was quick.
So Diagon Alley is done, open 2014. Mm-hmm. Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land are then announced in 2015. which opened 2018, 2019. Toy Story Land opened before Galaxy's Edge. So clearly those were rebuttals to Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley. Now, they're not going to come out and say that, but it's obvious what it was.
Yeah.
And then he cites that all the stuff they did since then is this preemptive strike. So since then, to be fair, so he's saying since 2017, Disney has had 13 new attractions. So that would include Toy Story Land, you got Slinky Dog Dash, you got Alien Swirling Saucer, Smuggler's Run over in Galaxy's Edge, Rise of the Resistance in Galaxy's Edge. Then you got Tron, Guardians of the Galaxy, Remy's, the Epcot revamp that includes Moana walkthrough of water. It's fine ride. It's a walkthrough of water. And then Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and then to be fair, Tiana. So I think that gives them 13. Yep. So in that time period. So if we look at Universal in that same time period, so if we're giving them credit, if they're rebuttaling to Universal, then we're going to give them credit for Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley. So those together have 5 attractions. Mm-hmm. Couple that with the other ones. So they had Volcano Bay they built.
In 2017 opened,
which includes like 15 rides. Yeah, it's a water park, I know, but still, it is a park.
Right.
You got Minions Land with Villain Con, Velocicoaster, Hagrid's. Now, not all of these are home runs. Race Through New York with Jimmy Fallon, terrible ride. Fast and Furious Supercharged, not a good ride. Bourne Stunt Spectacular, fantastic.
Fantastic.
Love it. Then you've got DreamWorks Land that is opening this summer that will have at least 1 or 2 attractions. For sure, a roller coaster. It's going to have a bunch of stuff for families and kids. And then if you're including Epic Universe, that has at the very least 11 new rides that we know of.
Yeah.
That's I'm pretty sure that's like 33, 35, 37 new attractions, something along those lines. So this doesn't make sense to me in that this was a preemptive thing. I think the question was, why have you not done more? Are you caught off guard by this? I think most people, and I understand what he's saying in a way, what he's going to say that they have done things. I'm not saying they haven't done things.
Right.
But if you also look at what was originally announced versus what was built, budgets get cut. Things are pretty different.
Right.
A lot of that's kind of been a theme lately. I think it's safe to say I don't think what they have done currently is a rebuttal for Epic Universe. Or is even a preemptive, we don't have to do anything because we've already done all the things we've done. I think all that stuff they've done, a lot of it is a counter to what Universal has already done. And it's not like Universal has just announced Epic Universe and they haven't been doing other stuff in the parks that we just talked about. You've got Hagrid's and Velocicoasters that a lot of people, now I love Hagrid's, that think those are the 2 best roller coasters in
Orlando.
In Orlando for sure, if not further out from Orlando. So you've got a lot of big time attractions people love. So it's not like they weren't doing anything. Let's admit, Epic Universe could be a failure. It could. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things maybe outside of its control or with it. Maybe they don't know how to run a new theme park. Maybe they mess it up. There's potential that it could be not this giant success a lot of people are saying it could be. I'm very excited for it, admittedly.
I don't think it's going to be a failure.
I don't think so either. You're not talking about a new upstart company that's decided to get into theme parks.
Yeah.
Universal knows how to do this.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much that flies. I think he would have been better off at just saying, yes, our competitor, they're being very aggressive and they're bringing new ideas into the theme park realm. And while, a lot of people are excited about that, we just cleared up this legislation issue with Florida. We got $60 billion we're going to spend in the parks. Some of that's going to be coming to Florida. We got some things coming. He could have just said something like that, but it has to be this everybody's known somebody that's always I knew that. Won't admit that they were wrong on something or maybe they were caught off guard. It just comes across as him just trying to make it seem like they're all knowing all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's clearly not the case. They're a giant corporation, all sorts of things, but I just felt that answer was just very clunky, to put it nicely, I suppose.
Well, I think a lot of people share your sentiment about that. They kind of felt oh, okay.
They were just easier. And if you read that thing, that was a mouthful.
It was a lot. It was a lot. I will say, having you read all of that stuff about when things were announced, when they opened, I mean, if the one thing that Disney can really work on going forward with everything they announce in the future and near future is completing projects in a good time period. Like 5 years for an attraction, too long. 5 years for even a land, too long. Like you don't, I don't get it. I maybe it's just like, I know we had a pandemic in there. I get it with Tron. I understand. But between 2012 and 2017, there was no pandemic. There was just, what they say, James Cameron.
That was James Cameron's fault, don't you know?
Yeah, but like, it's like they're like making progress, but it's just a whole lot of waiting. And I don't know, like, I feel like Universal is much quicker with their progress, and maybe it's like that's one of their goals is just to be quick about it. But we're just losing a lot of time, and as a Disney fan, I get impatient.
Well, you're right about that. I mean, they talk about like Tron took so long and Epcot's taken so long, and the people say, well, the pandemic. Like, okay, fine, but Epic Universe was announced in 2019. It is going to be done in 2025. It would have been done probably, I think it would have been open this year if it wasn't for the pandemic. So they would have had an entire theme park built in like, what, 2 years? 3 years?
I believe so. I think they originally said it might open in late 2023.
Yeah.
But they stopped construction in March of 2020.
And then to get it up and running again takes time and everything like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're building an entire new theme park with, at the very least, 15 new attractions, multiple lands, all this stuff in the same time period that it took Disney to build Tron, which was a ride that they already knew how to build because they built it in Beijing.
Yeah. Or Shanghai.
Shanghai.
Yeah.
So, I agree. I think it's one of these things where they definitely need to speed up their construction timelines, because I've said all along, okay, let's say at D23 this year, which I'm expecting that they will. They are essentially hinting everywhere that they're going to have this big announcements, at D23. They better.
Oh, can you imagine if they don't?
But here's the thing. If whatever they do announce, I mean, what are we going to look at this being done? 2030?
That was my point. Like, if going forward, if you really want to, impress your fans, your diehard fans that are here for you 100%, like never going to go, you have to try harder, get it done quicker. Don't be so lackadaisical about finishing projects. I don't know, like, especially with Dinoland. If they're going to redo Dinoland, completely revamp it, put it in Tropical Americas, put in the Indiana Jones ride. I mean, are we looking at another 4 or 5 years?
I mean, all you can go off of is their past patterns of behavior. So it's like, unless they decided to really ramp up construction, but it's like I've said all along, let's say Disney, and I don't believe that they're going to, but let's say they announce they're going to do a 5th gate. It'd take them a decade to build it. It took them, again, it's taken them multiple years for one ride. It took them, Pandora was 2 rides, and a land took them 7 years, essentially. Was it 7 or 5? It was 5.
5. Well, Splash Mountain, they closed it in January of 2022. And we're 2 years in, and it's just a theme over.
Right. Well, and that's the thing about this. So it's like, if that's the case, let's say they announce something big, and it's oh man, people are really excited for it. Let's say that let's get the benefit of the doubt and say that they are. Then we're looking at 5 years where they're allowing their biggest competitor to basically have whatever market share they're just going to have unimpeded at the moment. And so they've got Tiana opening in the summer. That's the only thing on the slate opening for Disney that's been announced. So let's say comes, August, they announce some stuff, but
is that really the last thing we have?
I don't think there's anything else opening.
We don't have anything else.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure Tiana's is the last one. I mean, you've got some of the small stuff like in Epcot's finally reopening with some, like the Encanto show and stuff like that. But
that's like done.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think there's anything else, at least attraction wise. So whatever they do announce, I mean, so you're going to let Epic Universe, which is a highly anticipated park, and you can't even argue, like they have IPs, like Nintendo World is already a hit for Hollywood, and Hollywood is a much smaller park who they've had issues for years getting people out to that park because it just it's basically built on a hillside.
Yeah.
So imagine the one in Orlando is going to be bigger and have the Donkey Kong attraction. You've got Harry Potter stuff. You've got the How to Train Your Dragon stuff looks awesome. So you have this park that people are like, man, that looks great. You're going to give them, at least 5 years to they're going to be the counter. Now, eventually, whatever Disney counters with, maybe it is a great thing that does, cause Universal to have to counter. But I can also tell you, we can't go into details, Universal's not stopping at Epic Universe. Nope. They have other things in the pipeline, let's just say involving video games. So
what's that saying? We're not resting on our laurels.
They're being very aggressive. Yeah. And I think this is a thing, like, I personally get accused of like hating. It's like, okay, anytime you point, it's like being on a sports team. I grew up a St. Louis Cardinals fan. I still love the Cardinals, but a lot of the times they make terrible decisions, and I criticize them in sports teams because I want them to win.
Right.
I want theme parks to be good. I don't want this stuff. So I think Universal really being aggressive and doing the things they're doing is a good thing. Because obviously, Iger's even said the things that we've got from Disney apparently are for them countering Universal. Now, they would have done a lot of these things. It's not like they didn't build things before Universal really got going. But I think
he made it seem
exactly
like he was like, oh, we already knew about that. This is why we did this.
Right. So
that's what it made it seem like. And I was like, bro.
Yeah. So he's like, that's kind of the way he's phrasing it. So it's in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, this is good that it's going to make Disney feel a little pressure. And really go back to the drawing board. And apparently from things I'm hearing that budgets are flowing at Imagineering again, and there's things in the works. I hope so. I really do, and that's great.
Me too. That would be wonderful.
And I really hope Animal Kingdom gets more stuff to do, and all these things like that. And I'm glad Epcot's reopening and all this stuff. Well, it's been open, but you know what I mean, the center part.
Yeah.
But his phrasing of that's just so awkward, and then just lends to this conversation now where you're going, like I said, it's just gaslighting. It's just him trying to act like all the stuff they've been doing was not already a counter.
Be like,
and it clearly
we've been
was.
around for a while. We remember.
Well,
we remember.
And people that some people obviously, and sadly, a lot of this stuff has become so polarizing, which is annoying in theme parks. But it's like, a lot of the people that are criticizing or just wanting more, they're not hating on Disney. They just want them to be better at the stuff that they're doing, or give them, do the things they used to do more of. And I think that's not a bad thing. Like anytime I'm used to a sports world.
Right.
Find a fan base that's constantly always just like, I'm totally happy. I mean,
right.
Maybe for a period of time, if you're a Patriots fan, you didn't have much to complain about. For the most part, sports fans complain a lot.
Exactly.
Because they want things and they're like, yeah, we want our team to do good. It's not because they hate their team. They complain because like, man, our quarterback's terrible. Like, well, I want a better quarterback or a pitcher or whatever it is. So I just look through the lens of when you're critiquing or being like, hey, why don't we do this? You're essentially trying to help. We'll have to wait and see. But I felt like the answer, I don't think that was I think a lot of people anticipated that question being asked to him because people have been wondering, what is Disney's official response to Epic Universe? They haven't come out and said anything. I feel like that answer to that question was very underwhelming. I guess we can put it that way. So, I'll have to wait and see. But anyways.